Hi guys, welcome back. Today I'd like to talk about chord voicings and a particular concept within chord voicings, which is how can we make chords simpler while retaining their important harmonic properties. Let's start with an example, and suppose you want to sound sophisticated. So you go to a jazz book and you look up the most complicated chord there is, and that turns out to be a 13th chord. So you go and you build a 13th chord on, say, the C dominant scale. And it sounds like this. So what you've actually done is you've taken this scale and you've built up a chord by playing its degrees. So you start with the first degree, the third, then you add the fifth, the seventh, the ninth, then 11th, 12th, 13th. So this is a C13th chord. Now, this is usually not played, C13th chords are not usually played this way for a couple of reasons. First of all, this particular voicing sounds huge, so it sort of hogs up the frequency range and doesn't leave any room for other instruments to play in. Second reason is that if you're playing alone, you're usually using a left hand to play the harmony and the right hand to play the melody. And nobody has a hand this big, not to mention nobody has 7 fingers. So you have to find a way of simplifying this chord. And this simplification will be based on the observation that while all notes and degrees were created equal, some were created more equal than others. And it turns out you can omit many of these notes in the C13th chord while still retaining its unique harmonic characteristics. I'm going to give you the rules and then I'm going to try and justify them. The most important degrees that you should keep are the third, the 7th, and the highest degree that makes the chord what it is. In this case, it's a C13th chord, so a 13th is that degree. So we can omit everything else and just stay with the 3rd, 7th, and 13th. This is still a bit too large, so I'm going to transpose this E up an octave and end up with this shape. So this is a perfectly valid voicing of a C13. So what makes it permissible to throw almost everything away? So we've thrown away the root, the 5th, the 9th, the 11th. We actually threw out more than we kept. We've omitted 4 notes and kept 3. So this comes from the following observation. Let's take a 7th chord, and there are different types of 7th chords. There's a C major 7th. Let's take a C, just to be concrete. There's a C7, C minor 7, C minor 7th augmented, C minor augmented 7th. And you can see that just going through these different shapes, the only 2 notes that change are the 3rd, which changes between major and minor, and the 7th. So that makes them the notes that give the chord that you're playing its special harmonic color, and therefore those are the notes that you should keep. And upon extending this chord, it turns out that the most important part is the note that makes this chord unique. The note that makes the chord, gives the chord its special color. In this case, in a C13, it has to be the 13th note. If, say, for example, you were playing a C13 with a sharp 11th, so not just a regular 11th, but an augmented one, you'd probably also want to keep this note as well. So instead of playing the C13th like this, you'd also add the augmented 11th. This leads to the concept of a tritone, and the concept is as follows. If you have a 7th chord, say a C7, we've remarked that the 3rd and 7th are the most important notes, and many people omit the root and 5th when playing 7th chords, and just stick with these two, 3rd and 7th degrees. They're called a tritone, and the reason is that there are exactly 3 whole tones separating them. So it's 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to conclude with an example that's taken from a song on my channel, which I've called Logitech Blues. And this song has a harmonic progression that goes like this. So what I'm actually playing here is a C7, is an E7th to an A7 to a D7 to a G7 to a C. And I'm actually taking just the tritones of each of these chords. So instead of an E7th, I'm just playing the 3rd and 7th. Instead of an A7, I'm playing the 3rd and 7th. Instead of a D7, I'm just playing this. Instead of a G7, I'm just playing this. So instead of this, I'm doing something that's I'm even simplifying it more because I'm inverting the tritone. If I play this, or if I play this, it's going to be the same thing, right? Because I'm just moving this C-sharp thing up or down an octave. So from an E7, I go to an A7, but I play it by taking the G down an octave. So I'm inverting it. So E7 to A7 to D7 to G7, which is the inverted form of this. So that's it for now. I hope you've learned something interesting, and I'll see you next time.